They are doing nothing illegal. Hundreds of Albuquerque residents who collect millions of dollars from a federal money giveaway are absolutely entitled to that money by law. But in this case, the law, as a Charles Dickens character once famously said, is an ass. News 13 investigative reporter Larry Barker tonight exposes a well-intentioned program that has morphed into a money pit.
We're talking big money here. We're talking billions of dollars.
Absolutely, it's an abuse of the system.
It's not working now. It's broken. It wastes the taxpayers' money.
Introduced during the Great Depression, the Farm Subsidy Program is a multi-billion-dollar government handout designed to benefit the struggling farmer.
The whole idea was to help the small family farmer. And I can't emphasize this enough. What the federal government tried to do is design a system so if there was a bad season or two, that you could still have farmers on the land.
That's the way it's supposed to work. But if you thought farm subsidies are doled out exclusively to men and women who plant corn and bale hay, think again. You see, you don't actually have to be a farmer at all in order to collect farm subsidies. Our investigation finds hundreds of Albuquerque residents collectively pocketing millions of dollars in farm payments from the comfort of their living rooms without ever having to plant a single seed, plow a row, or ride a tractor.
Who are the urban dwellers getting big fat checks from the government? Doctors, lawyers, teachers, practically everyone except farmers. Don Carr is a senior policy analyst with the Washington-based Environmental Working Group. He spoke to us by satellite.
Actually, you do not have to be a farmer to collect farm subsidies. You can be an investor in farmland. You can be a very well-off individual living in almost every major American city. By the virtue of you just owning farmland, you get farm subsidies.
In 1 year, 700 Albuquerque residents pocketed more than $2 million in government farm subsidies. Only 12% of those recipients received money for farms in New Mexico. Most of the subsidy checks were for rural properties in other states as far away as New York. For example, since '95, the Department of Agriculture has paid this Sandia Lab scientist living in the Heights more than $85,000 for farm property in Harvey County, Kansas. A UNM instructor living in northeast Albuquerque pocketed more than $53,000 in a 3-year period for a farm in Graves County, Kentucky. And in northwest Albuquerque, this man is known as a prominent educator and community fundraiser. But to the Department of Agriculture, he's a farmer. Since '95, he has collected more than $55,000 in subsidies for a farm in Lyon County, Kentucky. Over the past 17 years, the top Albuquerque farmer on paper is a Northeast Heights woman who has cashed in on $364,000 in subsidy payments for a farm in Dallam County, Texas. The city slicker receiving the smallest payment, an Albuquerque heavy equipment service manager who pocketed a total of $42 for farm property in Gallatin County, Montana.
If you're not on the land, working the farm, it seems to me that you're not a farmer.
Senator Tom Udall says it's time to stop rewarding non-farmers with farm subsidies.
The average New Mexican ought to care about farm subsidies because we're talking billions of dollars, of their dollars, taxpayer dollars, going in to be paid to people who aren't even doing farming.
The idea behind farm subsidies is to provide a safety net to agricultural producers. So why send annual checks to city dwellers? Well, it all comes down to the government definition of farming. As long as you own farmland and you are, quote, actively engaged in farming, you qualify.
Well, actively engaged should mean that you're actively engaged in the actual day-to-day operations of the farming business, whether or not you're driving a tractor, helping manage the business, but you're on the ground. In many cases, what happens is with paper farms or investors is they participate in a conference call or two during the year and basically sit back and count their money and their subsidies.
Lawrence Real is the newly appointed state director for the USDA's Farm Services Agency.
You don't have to be the actual individual on the field, if you will, for the traditional view. We're in the overalls, working the tractors, or working the cattle. You are the owner. You're taking the risk in the investment, financial investment in this operation.
The original purpose of helping small family farmers appears to have disappeared.
In my opinion, when you have 82% of New Mexico farmers not receiving any subsidies, and you have 700 recipients in the city of Albuquerque receiving subsidies, this money is not well spent.
Congress may agree. Farm legislation is now being debated in Washington, and the U.S. Senate has already voted to eliminate the controversial subsidies, which could save taxpayers an estimated $23 billion over 10 years. Larry Barker, KRQE News 13.
We did not name the Albuquerque subsidy recipients because, again, under USDA regulations and the law, they are entitled to the money. And boy, did I make a mistake. You know, on Green Acres,